Hi everyone. Many of you have been asking me about specs of my track prepped NB car. So I've decided to make a short video about it, give you some insight about the specs, share with you some experiences about it. So suspension, wheels, brakes, general safety equipment, and some details about the engine specs. So let's go to it. So this is my 2000 NB 1.8 liter, which is making slightly below 200 horsepower, which I think is quite a good result considering it's not a turbo car. It doesn't have ITBs and so on, so naturally aspirated, and it's weighing about 1050 kilograms. So actually could be better than that, but it's as well a car that I use for some road trips. So let's go to the wheels. You can see nice and shiny Storm S1 wheels, 15-inch, 8-inch wide, very light, and actually from my experience quite robust. Equipped with the Rexus 03G tire. In my experience, one of the best tire, very forgiving, very easy to set up when it goes to pressures and temperature range. Like it very much. When it comes to brakes, I have 4-pot caliper from EL Motorsport at the front, paired with a 280 rotor from ND, which actually fits pretty nicely, having some adapters to the caliper. So the only disadvantage is that you cannot set up the adapters in such a way that it actually covers the whole rotor surface with a brake pad, which is a pity, but still gives plenty of nice stopping power. At the rears, we have a mid-brake caliper, which I've learned recent track day it's not a very good idea to couple with a very strong brake at the front. You can see quite a big crack on the rotor, so the heat capacity of those rear rotors is not enough to match with the front. So I will need to go to the big brake variant of the caliper and the rotor to 276, if I'm not mistaken. Inside we do have a roll cage, we do have a bucket seat, 6-point harness for safety. Inside it's pretty much stockish, as you can see, not much going on there. When it comes to the transmission, it's a 5-speed with a short end gear ratio, so 4.67 rack and pinion ratio gear from Kia Sportage. Fire extinguisher, safety again. And then let's go to the engine bay and have a look at it. So under the hood, as I mentioned, close to 200 brake horsepower engine. So I've built this engine in 2015, and since then having some interesting experiences with it. So the idea behind the engine in the car was that it should be well, not exceeding about 200 brake horsepower for reliability reasons. So the transmission and brakes and so on to make the car still work without huge investments in those areas. When I built the engine 2015, I've changed the pistons. We have 11.1 compression pistons from Supertech. At the bottom end, we have a second size cylinder, upsize cylinder at 84 millimeters. Otherwise, all the goodies are in the head. So we have Sporty Camshafts, 11.5, 270 duration on the inlet, 11 millimeters lift, 260 duration on the exhaust. fitted with oversized valves and valve springs, shims on the bucket. We have a nice flowing square top manifold from the facelift version of the MB. A Motorsport inlet cold air box, which is actually doing the job very nicely, so it's sucking the air in front of the radiator to make sure that the engine is provided with some cool air. And then on the exhaust side we have the 4.1 custom exhaust manifold, 60mm straight downpipe to the end muffler. So at the beginning I had some issues with the engine because I've left the stock valves, and there's a lot of other stories, other examples on the internet where you will see that the inlet valves are actually the weak point of an engine. So equipped with a high lift camshafts, even with a stronger Supertech single spring, they didn't survive even one season, so I had to replace them 2016 with a Supertech stronger, more hard anodized valves, 1mm oversized as I mentioned. And these valves actually survived till now, but still again I'm getting compression issues at the cylinder number 1, which is a sign of a worn off valve contact surface with a head. So need to replace those again, probably going for a 2 spring double spring setup, at least on the inlet side. Apart from that, we have the brake proportioning valve, which I highly recommend. Without this, actually the setup with a big brake at the front and mid brake at the rear would not work at all. I was trying before having a brake proportioning valve work with different compounds of brake pads, but it didn't work out. Actually, after having the brake proportioning valve installed, I've realized that I had too less of a braking power at the front. So this is really the only way to set it up properly. One interesting feat is the electric steering assist pump from Opel. I had issues with the original mechanical pump with the lines breaking, which is not what you want, for example, doing a track day on the Nürburgring, which actually happened to me. So I was fed up with those issues and replaced that with the electric steering assist pump, which is actually helping making some good power as well. What I forgot to tell you is that I have as well on the inlet the increased 68mm throttle body. The inlet manifold is port matched with the throttle body, because obviously in a stock version the inlet hole is not big enough to cover it. So this is ensuring that we have some nice flow through the engine and the manifold. And as well, the inlet manifold is port matched with the inlet side of the head. Apart from that, we have pretty stockish coil rod cooling. This is one of the disadvantages of the cooling box, that you cannot fit too wide of a radiator for cooling, but actually you don't need this if the cooling is properly set up. This one has as well a cooling reroute. I have as well a oil cooler at that kind of powers, NA configuration. Definitely need that to keep it nice and cool. So that's about it. I hope we can see each other sometime on track. So actually Track Masters is organizing a very nice time attack challenge league on all best tracks in the Central European region. So hopefully see you there.